Alright, hello everyone. I am Hirsuda, and I play RimWorld. With Odyssey releasing tomorrow morning, I wanted to do a little colony showcase of the most advanced colony that I've ever made on its final day. First, I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of the history of the colony and its kind of ideological evolution. And then we'll look at some of the strategies that I used, some of the systems that I set up, some of the gene packs that I made, and some of the important mods that I used. And then at the end, we'll play out one last epic battle against these mech clusters. And just if you want to just skip to that part, just see the timestamp below. So the story of this colony is about moral degradation. The city is named, or the colony is named the City of Ombus after the moral guide. The founders started with a kind of a standard humanitarian ethos, something that we would recognize today on Earth in the Western world as like good people. And they slowly watched as a more charismatic newcomer, Ombus, who was native to the planet, she sort of entered the colony and saw them as babes in the woods, like, oh, these soft-hearted outsiders, you are going to get eaten alive on this planet, so I'm going to shape you into an image of my outlook on the world, and that's exactly what she did. The way I imagined it going down, the founders were kind of troubled, but also didn't really have a good argument, or that is to say they weren't able to make a more persuasive argument towards the other people, because they created this welcoming environment, and other refugees, local tribals, people they rescued, they all flocked to this kind of safe, welcoming place that the founders were building. But the whole time, Ombus was cultivating influence and sowing rhetoric and leading the population down an increasingly violent and authoritarian path, eventually embracing slavery, conquest, and integration with the empire. One of the founders died in battle relatively early on. And when I say early on, so I'm playing this game with the aging set to 400% for both adults and children. And I did that so that there's this phenomenon that you see on the default settings where you end up with this ballooning population of 18-year-olds because children grow up, reach 18, stop aging, and then start having children of their own, so you can have like a 24-year-old with grandchildren and like great-grandchildren on the way. And I found that like really, really weird. So what I did is I set both adults and children to age at the same rate, and so there's like the mechanical, like the game mechanical time that has elapsed, and then there's the canonical time that has elapsed. And so I would estimate, let's see, Dimitri here, he is my main noble. He is 28 years old. So I would estimate that this colony canonically is probably 30 or 35 years old. So any when I'm thinking about like the timeline of like events that have happened, I'm imagining that it's like, oh, this is an event that happened during the winter time, when Dimitri was a child, but it wasn't happening like in 5505. It was exactly I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. There basically there's two time streams. There's the mechanical one and the canonical one. Is what I'm rambling about trying to say. Anyway, so what I was trying to get to was one of the founders died in battle. Canonically, probably 10 or 15 years in, so he's been out of the picture for a while. And the surviving two founders, with those few people who subscribe to their more humanitarian view of the world, they finally reached the point where it's like, I no longer recognize this society anymore, and I also no longer want to live here. And that was also around the point where the colony reached the point where they were wealthy enough and powerful enough to build and defend the ship as it was launching. And in my view, Ombus and Dimitri, because Dimitri here, he is he's the royal, he's the Archon, the Count, you would say, according to the old scheme. I'm not sure why Tynan decided to change the titles. There was never any explanation for that. It always kind of annoyed me, but I'm not making a rant video about that, I guess. But anyway, Dimitri and Ombus, sorry, lost track of my thoughts here. So Dimitri is the Archon, and he is fully aligned with Ombus. Dimitri was among the first generation of children here, and he, as you can see, he is tough, he's a brawler, he's got bloodlust. I gene modded the kind trait into him just so that he would be less likely to murder anybody with his absurd combat skills. But anyway, he's all about it. Him and Ombus are kind of all together on the authoritarian imperial conquest vision. And so he and Ombus were happy to support the founders in their quest to escape the planet, because from their perspective, the founders are their primary political opposition. They're the ones that are always saying things like, guys, maybe we shouldn't murder and enslave our neighbors. Maybe we should be a force for good in this world instead. And that was always kind of a thorn in Ombus and Dimitri's side, because they're like, no, but we want to, be as mighty as we can and take for ourselves all that's within our reach. And so even though it's like a very expensive, dangerous thing to launch this ship, I think they were happy to do it just to remove basically all political opposition. And that's exactly what happened, because as soon as the founders and everyone who agreed with them was gone, and that happened last year mechanically, so about 4 or 5 years ago canonically, and ever since then they have been reforming the colony into like a full-on genetic caste system, and preparing an army to just fully dominate the entire surrounding region. And that is where I'm going to probably draw the curtain on this colony. I had the ambition to see every end screen with this colony, but I just ran out of time. That's clearly not going to happen at this point, and that's okay. I'm actually really happy with what I've achieved with this colony. It's definitely the most powerful and sophisticated colony that I've ever made. It's probably the second one that I'm most proud of. The colony that I made that I'm the most proud of was one that they made on a hell planet, where the average daytime temperature was like 150 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and I like legitimately managed to thrive on that planet, and that was the one I'm most proud of. But this is definitely the most advanced colony that I've made, and the first time that I've ever actually launched the ship in over 10 years of playing this game. I think I've got like 7,000 hours of of gameplay between going all the way back to Alpha 8. So and I've never actually launched the ship before, because to me the game was always about building this. It was about building this society, and it's like, we've built lives here. We've built this like mighty citadel and raised children, and like we're the baddest guys on the block. Like, why are we just going to throw it all away and leave now? But I finally did it. Finally launched the ship, and I'm pretty happy with that. So that's where I'm gonna draw the curtain on this colony, and just imagine them charging into the sunset with charge rifles raised and bloody battle standards held high. All right, so that'll wrap up the history and culture section of my colony tour, and now I'll tell you some details about the run. I played this on Randy Random. Losing is fun. There was a lot of save scumming involved. I'm not exactly ashamed to admit that, but this is played for fun. It's not really a challenge run. But about 2/3 of the way into the run, I cranked the threat multiplier up to 500%, just because I wasn't feeling very challenged. And I will say, with the combat strategies that I've made and the pawns that I'd created, I didn't actually notice a big difficulty spike when I cranked the threat multiplier. So I think in future runs, I'll finally be brave enough to play 500% from the start. Now, there were several key strategies that I used on this run, and in this section I'll also talk about key mods that enabled those strategies. So the first strategy that I found really important was aggressive economic growth, using summoned caravans at first. For any who don't know, if you call an ally, you can request a trade caravan here. And so basically what I did is I started farming immediately and as much as I could, and as soon as a caravan arrived, I basically just gifted them everything that wasn't bolted down until I got allied with them. Actually, let's see, I think I actually settled nearby someone specifically to do that. Yeah, so I settled nearby, and so I just was running caravans to and from the settlement, just bribing them until they allied with me. And then from there, I was summoning caravans. Like, I think you can do it every few days, so I would just keep track of that timer, and as soon as it was possible to summon a new one, I did. So I just had caravans coming all the time, and every time they would come, I would not only buy everything that was useful from that caravan, but I would also gift them everything that wasn't bolted down to keep their goodwill topped up. And that is because the second main strategy that I used was aggressive use of allied reinforcements. On this same screen, you can request military aid, and I did that a lot. I allied every faction that it is possible to ally. Relations have since broken down with the Pig Union, But yeah, I allied the Outlanders, the pigs, the rough Outlanders, and the Empire. And that's something will want to know about the Empire if you don't know this already. You have to be a knight in order to trade with them, but you do not have to be a knight to ally with them. So you can still take advantage of their powerful combat troops, even if you don't have royal titles. And man, I really did take advantage of them. In the whole mid game, I didn't really fight any battles because all I had was this insane economic engine of just like farms for days. And the nice thing about the civil Outlanders and the Empire is that you're able to summon their reinforcements together because they are allied with each other. What I ended up doing for some of the tougher fights where those two together couldn't beat them is I would wait until all of their units were off the map, broken and fled. And then once they were all gone, then I would summon in the pigs or the rough Outlanders for like a second wave of reinforcements. And yeah, they fought most of my battles for me, in combination with another very powerful tactic that I stumbled onto is this mountain I did not actually mine out myself. For several years in game, I was neighbors with an insect hive. And I'll tell you how I did it, because it's actually really easy to be neighbors with. You can just peacefully coexist with the bugs. And not only that, but the bugs will kill all of your enemies for you. Like, if you've got bugs on your map, you do not have to fight almost ever. The only time you would have to fight is in the case of a center drop or a breach raid sometimes. And the whole strategy consists of having double thick walls around your whole base. And at the time, like, I didn't have this whole enclosure at the time. I think my whole base was like this big for most of that. And yeah, what'll happen is the bugs will show up and they won't attack you. They will go crazy whenever they take damage, and all you have to do is hole up in your base, because what they're going to do is they're going to bang on your walls for like a couple of hours, and they may or may not even break through the first layer, and then long before they get through the second layer, they're going to give up and they're going to go back to their hive. And you have to be prepared to retreat back into your walls at a moment's notice, because every time a bug bleeds out and dies, they'll re-aggro. And so every time the bugs get in a fight, you have to be prepared for about 2 days of living under siege. But at the end of that time, they will totally go back to being peaceful. And so then you can come out, repair your walls, and go about your business. And what I did was I ended up building a wall that was something to this effect, which allowed raiders access to the bugs. But what it did was it meant that if a trading caravan happened to spawn here, it would immediately pass around the bugs instead of walking through their hive and getting killed. And that was more or less all I had to do. And eventually I did finally get tired of them and had to sally out and put them down, and that was a pretty epic fight. But I will say the bugs proved extremely useful to me during the time that I stayed with them, or that I allowed them to stay. And I would really actually encourage you to try living alongside the bugs, because it was really it was super strong. They took down some raids that would have been a huge problem for me. And yeah, as long as they were there, I never had to stress about a tough fight, because anything that did manage to take them down, I knew was going to be incredibly weakened after, so I'd be able to just mop them up. All right, let's see. I kind of jumped. There's a couple more things that I wanted to say about my economic strategy that I kind of jumped over when I wanted to talk about allied reinforcements. So let's see. The base of my economy is my cattle herd. I've got, looks like a little over 100 cows in here right now. I do, yeah, about 40 females and about 12 males is usually, looks like it's actually not quite enough to keep the females. Oh no, I'm misreading things. Yeah, so basically about 40 females is going, about 40 cows is going to be about enough to keep you absolutely swimming in beef. But as you can see, I've got my kitchen to the point that it is producing so many meals that I'm actually in the process of increasing my cattle herd, which is why I'm so short on beef right now, is because I'm growing my herd instead of harvesting it. But once you get to 30, 40 cows, and then I found that about a dozen bulls was enough to keep 30, 40 cows producing efficiently. You're gonna have thousands of meat every quadrum, like many thousands of meat. And what I did is I combined that with corn farms, and I used it to create survival meals. Because the thing that I learned recently is that every single trader type accepts survival meals, every single one, and each survival meal is worth like 15 bucks a pop. So if you create, it's essentially currency, and so yeah, that's my economic engine right there. Is a massive cattle herd with enough corn to match it, and then make that into survival meals and just buy the world. I wasn't going to talk about my genetic super workers for a little while longer, but I'm talking about the kitchen, so I guess that makes sense to talk to now. So Yuyani here is a creature that I called the kitchen demon. Yeah, so she is fully kitted out both genetically and bionically. I gave her bionic eyes, arms, and legs. Legs for fast movement, speed, hauling things. Ideally, she would be confined in here. She should only be grabbing from these shelves, but things aren't. I'm kind of still. I've got the concept of it perfected, but the implementation is still in progress. So right now she's still running to and from the field to fetch milk. I need to get the slaves whipped into shape to help her be better. But as you can see, she's already consumed all of the available meat, and that's why she has to go to the field to get more milk. But yeah, legs to run faster. Sight and manipulation both influence cooking speed, as well as the gastroanalyzer. So she's fully kitted out to be a monster cook. And then I also modded her with some combat mods, just so that I don't lose her in a stupid way. I mean, she's a big investment at this point. But then I also gave her the never sleep gene, as well as I gave her naked speed just because it's free movement speed basically. It's this never sleep combined with her monstrous cooking speed from her high skills and her bionics, which just make her into an absolute an absolute demon in the kitchen. And I've got all of her slaves. These guys, their whole job, I've got them running loose through the base now, but their entire job during the harvest season is to do nothing except follow behind the field workers and haul in the corn, and then also to keep the kitchen stocked with the corn and meat. These guys don't have any bionics or anything, but they've also got fast runner genes and never sleep. So they are just working nonstop. And I don't usually go for this kind of like min-maxing gameplay where it's like, oh yes, I'm going to like, create these unholy abominations of creatures that will just like work 24/7 to make the colony as efficient as possible, because I like to play the game. I'm not pooping on anyone, by the way, this is just my preference, but I like to play the game like as if they were real people and make the kinds of decisions that real people would make. And this is obviously not a choice that any person would make for themselves, but in this case it kind of made sense because we're going for this very hierarchical, like a caste system is what it's turning into. So, it makes sense that we're going to do horrible things to these slaves. And then let's see, what else did I want to talk about? So while we're talking about genetic caste systems, I suppose, I've also got my group of knights here, which are my main fighters, and I've made a few videos showcasing these guys in battle. They are quite formidable, but I gave them like full combat mods. I'm working on getting Archotech genes into them, but yeah, this unstoppable, robust, super clotting, super fast wound healing combo just makes them into absolute beasts. Like, they don't go down, like they'll never bleed out because their bleeding just stops, and then half the time their wounds will be fully healed before they even get back from the fight. It's really very cool. And then that's combined with locust armor. Oh, and also drug dependency, which, Go Juice. Yeah, Go Juice is incredible on these guys. And then, let's see. Celia here is my field demon. The same treatment I gave to Yuyani over here. Celia got the same thing, but even more so. She's got 2 field hands with the bionic legs, and the never sleep, the speed mods, the tail. Like, I imagine her with if you've ever watched Ghost in the Shell, there's this one scene where like there's the cyborg typists with these like multiple branching, like extended robot typing hands, and it's just like these giant mechanical spider hands, and that's how I imagine her field hands. And she's got 2 bionic legs, and I always kind of imagined those legs being kind of like with the backwards knees, so that she's able to lean forward to reach the crops more lean forward to reach them better. And she's just got these 2 giant mechanical spiders basically emanating from her hands, just reaching out and plucking ears of corn with each finger. Yeah, it's just this like mechanical, like manticore, not a manticore. What is the fantastical chimera? That's it. Just this mechanical chimera, just zooming through the fields. Because her planting speed is ungodly. Like, suppose I were to switch this over to rice and set her to work. Where are you, Celia? Yeah, you get 4 hours a day of recreation, but now you get none. So we're going to put her to work because I just want to show off how fast she does plant work. It's insane. Look at that. Her bottleneck is her physical movement speed. It's absurd. Just look at it. Anyway, I'm real proud of Celia here. So some other strategies that I used. Let's see. In the early game, I pursued aggressive population growth using growth vats, which is not something that I had ever done before just because I couldn't figure out how to square it thematically. But in this case, I ruled it as Amboss, basically making the case that, like, you guys, like, if we don't grow strong quickly, we are going to get crushed by all of the horrible people that are around us. Like, we're growing through recruitment, but it's not enough. Like, we have to grow faster. And so, yeah, we built our little genetic laboratory down here, and we started pumping out vat kids, and mechanically they have specific mothers and fathers, but canonically I imagined it being kind of like in The Expanse, where Holden is actually the child of like 5 different people who all synthesized their DNA to have him equally. And so that's how I imagined that going, is that every one of these vat children are the children of the colony as a whole, which I found to be an interesting idea. And we actually had some very predictable results from that. I mean, this guy ended up with bloodlust. Daedalus ended up being a psychopath, also with bloodlust. And it's like, oh, what? And when I was choosing their traits, I was just kind of thinking, it's like not all of them turned out like that. Some of them turned out to be little sweethearts. But when I saw those traits come up in the options, I was definitely thinking, like, what would it be like to be a child being raised in this environment, this like extremely violent, frightening environment, and just being raised as, with the explicit purpose of being a soldier. It's like, we need you because it's like we created you because we needed another warm body to help repair the barricades and to hold a rifle on the firing line. Like, what does that do to a kid? And so yeah, I made a few psychopaths among them, and then I did what a psychopath would probably do in that situation, which is like, well, if that's how it is, if that's the world we're going to live on, then, you made me because we needed to be more powerful, so I'm going to become as powerful as I can. And Dimitri here, who's among that first vat-grown generation, did end up being extremely powerful. He's an Archon now. He's got a bunch of really good psycasts, as well as talking about the genetic caste system. So this guy is designed to be the tip top. So he's going to be the god, the living god king with his demon servitors, and yeah, I gave these guys the gene implanter. They're not vampires, but I did give them the gene implanter so that they could bestow their gifts of immortality onto whoever they saw fit. And so probably what the plan is to gradually, as their knights distinguish themselves in battle, and as you know, it becomes time to establish new settlements. And well, I'll talk about the colony here in a minute, but the idea that I had in mind before Odyssey was announced was that, like, all right, I've got this home city, and I'm going to establish, you know, like colonies around the world. This place exists to mine marble. Salazar here is, I've got him set up to be completely self-sufficient. So he handles all the basic needs of growing and hauling and cooking and cleaning. And then once that's all done, then he mines chunks. And once he's mined a chunk, he refines it into blocks, and then he stacks it, and that is his life. He makes an ever bigger stack of marble blocks, and he has none here because I did a pickup recently. And what I imagine is that, like, for every resource here that is needed and not available on the colony, which is, I wish there were more of these sorts of resources, but right now it's mainly just marble blocks to fill out, to finish filling out the cathedral. But yeah, I was going to just create a whole little miniature settlement here, and I had in mind that Flan, or perhaps Daedalus, or Couver here, we're going to go and become, we'll probably elevate them to Baron status, because if you read the lore for the noble titles, that is the title that usually corresponds to owning and operating a mining colony, which is what this is. So send them out to become independent little rulers. And actually, if you've never tried, and this was done with the setup camp mod, but it looks like in Odyssey we might be able to do it in vanilla. But yeah, if you've never tried running a little miniature colony like this, it was actually a really interesting diversion. You know, whenever running this machine and trying to optimize this thing becomes a little bit too overwhelming, it's like, let's just come check in on what Salazar is doing. Where is he at in his day? It's just mining blocks. He's got his camel. He's got several ambrosia plots. His larders are well stocked. Oh, what's he doing now? He's having breakfast. Just a very wholesome little scene. I would especially love to send like a whole family out here, just like a mother and father and their kids, and just let them have this little house on the prairie scene. Meanwhile, we're over here creating genetic super soldiers. Anyway, let's see. Was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I don't think so. I think that more or less covers it. So at this point, let's fight a battle. God, I hope my audio's not messed up. Okay, so another really important mod that I'm using here. Let's see. What we're going to do is we are going to let everyone finish eating breakfast, because that's what I had them all queued up to do right before this battle was to start. Colony groups, really, really important mod, because it lets you do this. Almost done. Almost there. Okay, because it lets you do this. knights all their way there. All my ranged fighters on their way there. Pre-sorted. Alright, so the army is assembling for battle, and what I'm going to do in the meantime is get my knights here, take their drugs. That's not great, but I'm sure he'll deliver it. You're a freaking teetotaler, so you get nothing. Alright, that's good enough. So what I'm going to do here is just create a firing line. And I'm going to move my knights forward. And their whole purpose is mostly going to be to tank shots with their shield belts. Any incendiary enemies that arrive, they will also... You're the one with the overdose. We're going to send Heidi instead. You're pregnant. We're going to send Coover instead. Send him to aggro them. So these guys are going to take out any incendiaries. And beyond that, they're going to take shots. Oh gosh, looks like I have some. So I don't want friendly fire coming in, so I'm going to temporarily forbid firing at will, and these guys are just going to mop this up. Alright, so then we're going to send Red and Petus and So down here. These guys are going to reform a little back here. You guys are going to kill him and then go down there. Oh, and we're going to enable firing. That'll be important. Have you guys fall back a little bit. Ooh, all right. Getting off to a exciting start. Probably fine. ID, excuse me. Let's So we need to fall back a little more to get away from that shield. So we're actually going to withdraw. This is going well so far, I would say. Might actually fall back a little bit further so that we can kind of be more clear of these obstructions. Hopefully the enemy will continue to follow us. And we might actually just go ahead and take out these scythers right now. Oh, that's in play. You guys are too slow. Just go home. All right. So this is actually looking pretty easy at this point. So I think I will charge forward instead. Let's move forward to get into charge rifle range. Playing ever so slightly reckless right now because this is literally the last thing I'm going to do here. I'm declaring victory for myself after this, but you know, I would say that I'm confident enough. Not too worried about that pikeman right now. So, how are we going to deal with this? We're going to use the, where are you? Where are you? Gosh, it's hard to navigate these sidcasts at times. Did I not? Oh my god. Alright, I did not realize that I hadn't used this smoke pop trainer, so how embarrassing. You know what? I've got it in inventory. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit out this whole section. Ha ha ha. All right, so full disclosure, I did just use dev tools to give Dimitri smoke pop, but I can explain. I've got the side trainer in storage over here. I meant to have him use it before I started recording, but I forgot. Sue me. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're going to cast smoke pop up here. Bam. Red and Coover, go kill that guy, please, and come back. Going to cast smoke pop once again. And then we're going to just do that a couple more times. To blind all these turrets. And then that's getting in the way, so we're gonna go on a little mission. Okay, and then we'll just wall. Oh, brother. All right. Do a little more smoke popping. Do a cheeky neural heat dump on a child that shouldn't be in battle anyway. And now we'll move forward. So that was one, and we've got one more to go. Let's do it again. Let's see, one child in no danger, and one Imperial that we don't really care about. Let's see if we can get him rescued. Some injuries. Nothing serious. See, I think we'll make our withdrawal to the west, actually. So I know that there are some Tesserons here, as well as a bunch of Centipede blasters, which might make things a tad bit more complicated. But, you know, this last battle was honestly pretty trivial, so a little more complicated is not a bad thing, I think. Take out that Tesseron first thing. Have Dimitri cover them with smoke. Save them from the turrets. Nice. Oh lord. Yeah, this one might be a little more challenging, which is good. Alright, so let's... fall back and try to separate the centipedes from the faster movers. We don't need to fight the centipedes and the scythers and scorchers and whatnot all at the same time. Move these guys off to the side. These guys are the ones I'm really worried about. Thankfully, there's only 2 of them. This is the main thing that the knights are doing in this battle, is to draw the fire so that the firing line can really deal their damage. That's good. Move, people. I think that at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to assassinate these centipede burners. And then at that point, I'm probably going to charge in with the knights, have them draw fire, and then move the range blob up into point blank range, and just mow everyone down from there. I think that's the plan. So what we'll do, fall back just a little more, so that we can clearly identify where our real targets are. So there's one there, one there. Perfect, I see them both. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll do 4 on one and 3 on the other. And hopefully they're able to close the range before they get blasted to bits, or really set on fire, what we're afraid of. So do that, you guys charge in, and then as soon as all of these guys aggro onto them, we'll charge the firing line forward. Okay, that's more or less happening. What we'll do, we'll go there and then there to try to minimize friendly fire. And yeah, as soon as these burners go down, I think I'm actually just going to undraft these guys and let them fight at their own discretion. Right. Go nuts, boys. No, we don't flee for battle. Plan is not 100% going to plan. Lost one of our knights, but you know, this is a glorious enough battle to be justified. Alright, so this is a costly one. Let's move forward, so we're minimizing the risk of friendly fire. Here we go. All right, and then it's just a pretty standard and basic process of mopping up this mech cluster, which I don't really feel the need to do on camera here. But yeah, that's it. That's the city of Ombus. Really very pleased with this colony. And yeah, if you made it through this absurdly long video, I guess thank you. That would be very, I'd be baffled, but flattered. Yeah, I am planning to make more videos about Odyssey. Mostly what you can probably expect from me is going to be really narrative focused stuff, possibly even readings of like prose. I also am in the habit of doing like some pretty bad illustrations as well. So yeah, if you want to see, you know, more stuff like this, or maybe hear like some short stories and see some funny little pictures that I drew, maybe subscribe. If you don't want to, that's fine. In any case, I'll see you in space, I guess. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.